Judge Franklin, I've got to talk to you about this restraining order. Oh, I'm sorry you're busy. I should have knocked on it.
No. Whoa. Just slow down now, Sarah. Come on, sit down here. That's it. Sit down. What seems to be the matter? Couldn't be that you're having a little case of last-minute wedding day jitters, could it?
No. It's just that, well, everything seems to be going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
My wedding dress needed some last-minute alterations. Then this case was rescheduled, and I have to argue against Ross on our wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I think we have the weirdest relationship ever. I think our parents think so, too. That's why they're not coming to the wedding.
Oh. Is that what's bothering you, Sarah?
Maybe. You know, Ross's parents and my mother, they're very traditional people.
Mm-hmm.
And when we told them we were getting married, they were shocked that it was happening so fast. Then we made the mistake of telling them I was pregnant.
How did they react to that?
Not well. My mother said I was just getting married to give the baby a name, and I said the baby would have a name whether I married Ross or not. You know, if my dad were alive, he'd talk some sense into them. They should be here today. But they're all boycotting us because I'm pregnant.
Well, I've known both of you for a long time, Sarah. And I want you to know that I have more confidence in you and Ross than any couple I've ever married before. Even if your parents aren't here today, I'm sure in the long run they'll come around. That is, if you and Ross will keep on believing in your own love.
Bob, thank you. You're wonderful.
No. Oh, hello, Janet. Come on.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Sarah, I've got the bridal shop on the line. They say they can't let down the hemline on your dress in time for the wedding.
What? I told them 2 weeks ago I needed that hemline adjusted because I'm wearing my grandmother's slip. They promised me. If that's a breach of contract, let me talk to them.
I wonder what she wanted to discuss about the case.
I'm Judge Robert J. Franklin. I chose the law as my way of serving my fellow citizens. As an elected judge in the family court, I pray each day that God will give me the wisdom to always temper justice with mercy.
All rise.
What you're about to see is a dramatization of an actual case in family court. Because of the emotional and sensitive nature of the issues presented here, Judge Franklin's courtroom is closed to the public. Proceedings are about to begin.
Be seated, please. All right, Miss Page, go ahead.
Your Honor, this is a hearing for a temporary restraining order. Firefighter Richard Hofstetter is suing Fire Chief Darrell Johnson and the Mid-City Fire Department to provide separate sleeping quarters for firefighter Charlene Carruthers.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you, Miss Page. Mr. Hellman, have you an opening statement for me?
Your Honor, recently Mid-City Fire Department inducted Charlene Carruthers as its first female firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
However, Ms. Carruthers' first interest is not in her job, but in sexually manipulating her coworkers, trying her best to get them aroused. This continued sexual harassment has made it impossible for my client, Richard Hofstetter, to sleep in the Firehouse dormitory where he has been staying while on duty for the past 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Inadequate rest could be dangerous during an emergency when we must count on our firefighters to be alert, not exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
If Ms. Carruthers is to continue as a member of the fire department, then separate sleeping quarters are imperative.
Thank you, Mr. Hellman. Now, Miss Bailey, your statement, please.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, my learned colleague makes this case seem like a matter of sex play. But the fact is, Miss Carruthers' civil rights are at stake here. Charlene does not want to be treated any differently than any of the other firefighters. She only asks that she be treated equally. When we start looking for reasons to segregate women in the workplace, It won't be long before we return to a system which bars women from the work men have dominated for years. We have fought too hard and too long to take such a giant step backwards. Your Honor, you must not allow this sexual discrimination to exist in the Mid-City Fire Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Bailey. Mr. Hellman, present your witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor, I call Richard Hofstadter to the stand.
Very well. Mr. Hofstadter, the oath you took at the beginning of this hearing is still in effect, of course, as you testify before this court. Now, you do understand that, do you not?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right, Counselor, go on.
Richard, could you please explain to the court why you're suing for separate sleeping quarters?
Yes, well, it's this way. Ever since that woman came on board, it's been impossible to get a good night's sleep down at the firehouse.
Why is that?
Miss Carruthers likes to tease us with her body.
Richard, I know you're trying to be a gentleman about this, but could you be a little more specific?
Yeah, well, she knows she's a looker, and she makes the most of it. She walks out of the shower with nothing on but a little towel. It barely covers her up to, here. Now, at first, we thought it was cute, but not anymore.
What made you change your mind?
She doesn't take the job seriously. I really did try living with this situation until the night of the fire drill. I jump out of bed, there she is, naked again. Only this time, instead of putting on her clothes, she runs to the fire pole naked. She slides right down, buck naked. It's pretty obvious she was just trying to get me aroused.
How did you respond?
Well, I stood there with my mouth open. I couldn't believe it. Then later on, I've got to take a lot of flack from my chief for not being fast enough down the pole and onto the truck. And thank God it was just a drill and not a real fire. I don't want this kind of thing to happen in a real emergency. That's why Miss Carruthers needs her own place to stay. Tonight.
Thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Bailey, will you cross-examine?
Mr. Hofstadter, if I understand your testimony correctly, you're saying that if Miss Carruthers is allowed to sleep in the same area as the other firemen, you will become too aroused to do your job. Now, do I have that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And isn't it true that there are pictures of naked women plastered all over the dormitory walls?
Yeah, well, that's different. Those are only pictures. And, besides, we took most of those down when Charlene was hired.
And isn't it true that at that time, you were the only firefighter to complain about having a female as part of the department?
Yes, I complained, but only because nobody else had the guts to say anything. I knew she was going to be trouble, and sure enough, she is.
Is that why you told Chief Johnson, and I quote, "A woman firefighter is a joke. Fighting fires is a man's job"?
Wow.
Did you say it, Mr. Hofstadter?
Yes, I said it, but under the
And
circumstances...
you must be aware that if Miss Carruthers cannot sleep there, since there are no separate sleeping quarters available for her, she cannot work there, right? I have no further questions.
You may step down, Mr. Hofstadter. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Hellman, have you another witness?
No, Your Honor. Plaintiff rests.
Ms. Bailey, will you present your first witness, please?
Your Honor, may I have a moment to consult with my client in private?
Very well. We'll have a brief recess.
All right, Charlene. What's this about you sliding down the fire pole buck naked? You forgot to tell me about this little incident. And you better have a good explanation.
Sarah, it's not like it sounds. It's just that I was sleeping in the nude when the bell rang, and I just acted out of reflex. I had no way of knowing that it was only a drill. Look, as soon as I got to the truck, I put on my gear. It was no big deal.
Well, I'm going to need a minute to think about this one. Why don't you go inside, Charlene, and I'll be right in, okay?
All right. Sarah, your dress just came. They said they changed the hemline, but I thought you'd better check it yourself. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thanks, Janet. I hope Ross thinks so, too. You know, it may seem silly, but I don't want him to see it before the ceremony.
Sarah, you better come back inside. Judge Franklin's ready to proceed.
Go back inside now.
Hey, what are you hiding?
Nothing.
Is that your wedding dress?
No.
Now, come on, Sarah. You know it's a sexist tradition not to let the groom see the dress before the wedding. What would Gloria Steinem say?
Go, or there won't be any wedding.
Okay, I give up.
Are you ready to proceed, Ms. Bailey?
Yes, Your Honor.
Call your first witness, then.
I call Fire Chief Darrell Johnson to the stand.
Very well. Chief Johnson, let me remind you that you are under oath, sir.
I might have known it would be some flaming bra burner that would defend Charlene. I bet this Bailey broad eats nails for breakfast.
Gee, I hope not.
Huh?
Never mind.
Go ahead, Miss Bailey.
Chief, why are you refusing to grant Mr. Hofstadter's request for separate sleeping quarters?
It's not as easy as Richard thinks. See, we're a small department. We have one room for the firefighters and 6 bunk beds. We'd have to practically build a whole new wing just for Charlene.
Do you have the money to build more space?
No, we're on a limited budget until we get a new bond on the ballot. And personally, I think it's more important to have a new fire truck than separate sleeping quarters. Some of us just have different priorities, I think.
Thank you, Chief. I have no further questions.
Mr. Hellman, will you cross-examine?
Chief Johnson, when Mr. Hofstadter first complained to you about the sleeping arrangements, didn't you hang a blanket from the ceiling to section off Charlene's bed from the rest of the dormitory?
Yes, until one of the men stumbled into it during a 3-alarm call. It ended up being a hazard, so we took it down.
But by hanging the blanket, you were agreeing with Mr. Hofstadter's point of view, correct?
Sure, I can understand how he feels, but professionally speaking, sex shouldn't enter into this kind of decision. I could be cited for discrimination or something.
Which means you're in the middle, aren't you?
You bet. I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. Richard Hofstadter is an excellent firefighter. He saved a lot of lives over the past 15 years, but Charlene deserves a chance, too. Although I don't think she ought to be sliding down the pole naked, and I told her so, too.
Thank you, Chief Johnson. No further questions.
Very well. You may step down, Chief Johnson. Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Bailey, any further witnesses?
I call Charlene Carruthers to the stand, Your Honor.
Very well. Ms. Carruthers, let me remind you that you were sworn in as this hearing began, and now as you testify before this court, you're going to be testifying under oath. You understand that?
Yes.
Good. Go ahead, Ms. Bailey.
Thank you. Charlene, how do you feel about being forced to use separate sleeping quarters?
It's not fair, and it's a matter of principle. If I'm going to serve our community as a firefighter, then I want to be treated as a firefighter, not some delicate little thing. The first week I was there, Hofstadter wrote up the duty roster, and guess what he gave me? Cooking detail. He's a sexist pig.
Charlene, do you have any difficulty sharing a room with 5 men?
I'm not the one complaining. Listen, I come from a very big family, and I even shared a room with my brother until I was 11. Of course, the worst part is having to wait until they're all finished in the bathroom so that I can go in and shower, but it's the same thing with my brother, so I'm used to it.
Now, what about this incident where you slid down the fire pole naked during a fire drill?
Well, that happened because it was very hot that night, and I was sleeping in the nude when the bell rang. A lot of the guys were doing the same thing. Well, Richard says that he gets nervous around me, but I have seen what he plasters all over the firehouse walls. Pin-up girls and centerfolds. If he is so afraid of getting aroused, then why doesn't he take down that pornography?
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Very well. Oh, young man, just put them over here in the corner, if you will, please. Thank you.
What's all this?
Flowers for my wedding.
Your wedding? My trial is being interrupted by your wedding? Couldn't you get the bride to take care of this?
Well, I did. I mean...
He's marrying me.
You're marrying her? She's on the other side. This is like ridiculous. Your Honor, may I make an objection? I'd like new counsel.
We will return to the judge.
Mr. Hofstadter, if you would like to change counsel, I'll have to postpone this hearing until that can be arranged.
No, I want this thing settled today. That is, before tonight, Your Honor. And Mr. Hellman is doing a pretty good job.
Good. You may proceed then, Mr. Hellman.
Thank you. Miss Carruthers, isn't it true you flaunt your sexuality in front of the men at the fire department?
I don't flaunt it.
But you do dress and undress in the bunk area.
Yes, I do, but they don't have to look. I just try to act like one of the guys.
By showing off your naked body?
You've never seen a naked body before? If I were you, I wouldn't get married without checking that out first.
Your Honor, move to strike the last statement as non-responsive and irrelevant.
The motion is granted. Strike it, please, Dana.
Now, Ms. Carruthers, you say that you want to be like one of the guys, but the fact is you can't be. Physically, I mean.
It is men like you that make it very difficult for women to get equal pay for equal work. Are you sure you want to marry this guy, Miss Bailey?
Your Honor.
Ms. Carruthers, I want you to stick to the facts that pertain to this case and to nothing else. Go ahead, counsel.
Ms. Carruthers, since you arrived 3 months ago, your behavior in the firehouse has caused nothing but trouble. Doesn't that tell you anything?
Yes. It tells me that we've come a long way, baby. But we still have a long way to go.
I have no further questions.
Very well, you may step down, Ms. Carruthers. Thank you very much. Ms. Bailey, have you another witness?
No, Your Honor, the defense rests.
Mr. Allman?
Nothing more, Your Honor.
Very well, I think I've heard enough to be able to render a decision here. Ms. Carruthers, I commend your choice of professions, but I do not approve of your behavior since you've become a firefighter. I also do not approve of the sexual innuendos I've heard from both sides of this case. Mr. Hofstetter, old prejudices are hard to break, but I hope you will learn to accept a female co-worker, because I'm finding for the defendant in this case with the following provisions. Chief Johnson, I expect you to issue an immediate order requiring all your firefighters to wear some type of clothing to bed. And Ms. Carruthers, I expect you to follow that order to the letter. You know, it's one thing to want to be treated as an equal, but it's quite another to expect others to give up their rights of privacy. And respect is the key word here. Once you learn to respect Mr. Hofstetter's feelings, I'm sure you'll find that he'll come to respect yours. That's all. This court stands adjourned.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome, Charlene. But keep your clothes on, okay?
Okay. You have a wonderful wedding night, too.
I will. Thank you. Bye. Ross, I can count on you not to hang any pictures of nude women in our bedroom, can't I?
Already making demands, and we're not even married yet.
Right. But you have about 5 minutes if you want to change your mind.
5 minutes?
Ooh.
Next time on The Judge.
Miss Bailey, please. You gotta help me. The house supervisor. I stabbed him.
It's glitz. It's glamour. It's Beverly Hills Manor. Introducing Trey L.A. from Impulse, the very new fragrance that's L.A. inside out.
Popeyes, delicious freeze-at-home treat. Comes in assorted fruit flavors, 18 bars per box. Treat your youngsters with refreshing Popeyes.
Dermalogica, a skincare system researched and developed by the International Dermal Institute. Only available at appointed salons. Simple, serious, unique.
This is a very special day for all of us. Roscoe and Sarah are to be joined together in holy matrimony. This is not a commitment to be entered into lightly, and I know that both of you have given serious thought to your decision. And I know, too, that as a symbol of your love, you have written your own vows. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Sarah, then you first, please.
Ross, your love of the little things, the picnics in the mountains, the flowers you give me just because it's Friday, our walks along the beach, make me love you with all my heart. When I wake up to you in the morning, you give me the energy to face the day. And I know you will love me and support me if I stumble somewhere along the way. It is your hand I want in mine as we walk through the shadows and the light that our life together will offer. You are the man I want by my side. I love you.
Sarah, you are the reason I have for taking each breath, for living each day. When I think of you, I smile. To hold you in my arms and have you by my side forever is a dream come true. You've made me realize that I can have a relationship without giving up myself. I vow to stand by your side from this day on and to contribute to your happiness by loving you. I could not wish for anything more than being with you. I love you, Sarah.
Who has the ring that will join Sarah to Roscoe for all time?
I do.
Roscoe, take the ring, place it on Sarah's finger, and repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
Who has the ring that will join Roscoe to Sarah for all time?
I do.
Sarah, take the ring, place it on Roscoe's finger, and repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
Sarah, Roscoe, by the power vested in me by the state, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Congratulations to both of you. And Sarah, there's someone here I think you might like to say hello to.
Oh, Mom. I've been so silly. I couldn't miss this, darling.
I'm so glad you came.